Good afternoon. Michigan was built by working families. Unfortunately, policies coming out of this building and in Washington, D.C. have left working families here and nationwide out in the cold. My colleagues and I are committed to giving working families the opportunity to achieve the American dream. That's why we're here today. It's my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce my good friend, Michigan's great champion, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell.
Great. Thank you, Jim. He's a great leader in this state, and we're lucky to have him, and it's great to be here surrounded by so many of the women legislators who are working hard to try to help working families. So it's always good to be in Lansing. Or the group of people here is always going to put Michigan first, and that's why I'm really honored to stand with them today. And it's Women's History Month, and that's why we're talking about women's issues today. Today, women play an expanded role in America's workforce, in businesses large and small, and in our homes. Almost half of all workers are women, and 40% of the women are the primary breadwinners in their families. In Michigan, more than 480,000 households are headed by women. Too many people don't understand that women aren't just working because they want to work, but it's out of sheer economic necessity. Yet today, too many women are struggling to be good parents at home, or take care of aging parents, and do a good job in the workplace. And they're having to make decisions that are tough every single day. And our policies aren't keeping up with the changing demographics of the American families. We need policies that make sense for the world we live in today so that women and families, women, men, children, parents, can all get ahead. Because when women succeed, America succeeds. My colleagues and I are working at both the federal and state level on an economic agenda for women and families. One area that you've heard the president talk about, and I'm focused on at the federal level, and the men and women, and it's men and women that are helping all of us get ahead, is paid sick leave. This should be a basic right for everybody. Everyone gets sick, and everyone should be able to care for themselves or a family member without having to worry about whether they're going to lose their paycheck, whether they can afford it, or losing their job. But today, 43 million people, nearly 40% of the workforce, do not have a single paid sick leave day. And millions more lack paid sick time to take care for a child. That means many workers are faced with the impossible choice of sending their child to school with the fever or losing a day of pay. And think about what that means at the school when the child comes in with that 100 or 101 fever. It means many Americans show up to work when battling an illness themselves, even when they know they shouldn't be there and that they may be spreading the sickness to others. How many of us have begged somebody not to come to work with the flu or cold? Well, not a cold, but a fever. And it means others are not able to take time to care for an aging family member because they can't afford to miss work. These are real life experiences that nearly everyone encounters at some point, and the responsibility disproportionately falls to women. Women shouldn't feel guilt, fear, or financial hardship when they're trying to do what's right for their families and their community while keeping their job. That's why I'm working with Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro to advance Healthy Families Act, which would allow workers to earn up to 7 days of job-protected paid sick leave each year to care for themselves or a family member. And an operative word is earn. It's not only good for working families, it's good for businesses' bottom line. Providing paid sick leave boosts productivity, making workplaces more attractive for potential employees, and it increases retention. Paid sick leave is just one part of the When Women Succeed, America Succeeds agenda. In Washington, I'm also going to be working with my colleagues to pass the Family Act, which will soon be introduced to provide workers much-needed income when using family and medical leave to take time off to care for a newborn or an aging parent. We're also going to be working to make the expansion of the child tax credit permanent to lift children out of poverty and help working families reduce some of the costs of raising a family. And we're going to keep working to continue to fight for equal pay for equal work. So I'm surrounded by women here at the state level and men who are going to continue to champion legislation that helps everyone get ahead. When women and families have balance between the demands of work and the responsibilities of family, our economy and our society benefit. Paid leave, affordable child care, equal pay for equal work, these are all policies that contribute to healthy families, a healthy, strong workforce, and the success of the middle class. And now I'd like to introduce Pam More, who can tell you what some of these policies mean to her family. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. My name is Pamela More. I was a single mother of 2 for a little over 10 years. I happen to be very fortunate to have assistance with my children through family and friends. However, I witnessed firsthand the many struggles experienced by many of my friends, coworkers, and family who have and still continue to struggle with the cost of childcare. I witnessed many of them having to make really hard choices regarding where their children go while they are at work. There is no worse feeling than leaving your child in care that is less than desirable because your only other option is to not work and then not provide for your family. Or maybe even having to make the difficult choices regarding where your children goes after they get out of school. How do they get where they need to go while you're at work? Do they have to walk a mile on their own because you can't afford to pay for the transportation to get them to the after-school programs? Sacrifices are made every day by parents, especially those on a limited income and those in single-parent homes. For them, they must give up what we, or most of us, consider necessities to cover the cost of their child care, or risk increasing debt, forgo paying bills just to ensure their child care is covered, or to cover the cost of unpaid time off to take care of their children when they are sick. As parents, we want our children to be safe and happy while we are out earning income to provide for them. When there is no support system in place to help you, you are left with options that you can afford. For those on a limited income, those options are many times slim and less than desirable for what we want for our precious children. Let's not forget all the parents that, due to the rising costs, may be faced with the decision to forego their careers and decide instead to see if their household can survive on one income. Or all the parents that I have seen have to make the decision to forego their college education because they can't afford the cost of extending their child care beyond that of their work time, thus delaying the opportunities they may be able to experience for themselves and their families with a better education. By encouraging this bill that Senator Curtis Hertel is offering, we are encouraging all those around us to continue their careers and contributions to the economy. And we are encouraging choices for those that sacrifice already so much to survive, provide the necessities for their families, and to do the best that they can for their children and their future. Thank you so much for your time. And next I'd like to introduce Senator Curtis Hertel, who just introduced legislation that would help working families with child care costs.
Thank you, Pamela. It's working parents like you that we are fighting for here today. Another significant challenge facing Michigan working families, especially single parents, is the skyrocketing cost of child care. Michigan parents pay an average of $9,724 a year for full-time center-based infant care. That's roughly 1/5 of the state median household income of $48,273. So 20% of most families' annual budgets in Michigan is going towards child care. And daycare cost is just per child. I have 4 myself, so you could imagine how much that ends up costing. That means the costs are even higher for many working families who have more than 1 child, like many who are below the median income and struggling to get by. In addition, over the last decade, the number of low-income Michigan parents eligible for public subsidies for child care has dropped by 43,000 individuals and families. That's why just today I have introduced legislation, Senate Bill 198, to allow eligible families to receive a tax credit of up to 80% of how much they pay for their annual daycare cost. The credit will be adjusted based on income. State spending on child care has been cut by 70% over the last 9 years. We have to make this a priority to get people back to work. That's down from 479, in 2005 it was $479 million, and now we're spending $136 million. That reduced funding has resulted in increased costs that are being passed on to parents, while the cost of child care itself has continued to rise. Working families depend on quality child care in order to do their jobs, especially single mothers and fathers. And Michigan kids need quality child care to prepare them for school. Giving families more money back on their child care costs is another important piece in an economic agenda that helps women and working families earn and keep most of their wages. My colleagues and I will continue to work together at the state and federal level to better serve Michigan workers. Now I turn things over to Representative Marsha Javi. Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. I am Marsha Javi, representative from the 92nd District in Western Michigan. And I'm very grateful to be here today to talk about women's economic issues. Now more than ever, women are heads of households in the United States. And according to the Pew survey that Congresswoman Dingell talked about, 40% of all households rely on women as their primary source of income. And that's up from 11%. So from 11 to 40%. It was 11 in 1960. Unfortunately, in many ways, women are still living in a madman kind of world. Without strong laws to ensure that women will receive equal pay for equal work, women in Michigan are paid on the average 74 cents for every dollar a man earns. Michigan House Democrats, and particularly the Progressive Women's Legislative Caucus, will be instrumental in creating policies that will protect women in the workplace. We actually have a package of bills. Usually it's about 4 bills. This time it'll be 3 times that. And we are working with both women from both houses, both the Democrats and the Republicans. We're reaching out to them in significant ways to try and get a bipartisan package. So whenever possible, we do try to do that. At this time, I'd like to introduce Representative Christy Pagan, who will speak about earned paid sick leave.
Thank you, Representative Hovey-Wright. My name is Christy Pagan. I represent Western Wayne County, Canton Township, City of Belleville, and Van Buren Township. And it's an honor to be with you today. As I hope you've heard, the Michigan House Democrats and the Senate Democrats have introduced a plan that would allow nearly every Michigan worker to earn paid sick leave. The proposal would cover both part-time and full-time workers, so even people who rely on 2 or 3 part-time jobs to make ends meet would be covered. Having paid sick leave is essential to all of Michigan's families. When a child or an aging parent is sick, it's often the woman who is called upon to take time off work and to care for her family members, or to take them to doctor's appointments. Equally important, it's essential that working people, men and women alike, are able to stay at home when they are ill. No one wants someone with the flu or a stomach virus handling our food, spreading illness to coworkers or customers. We all benefit when our coworkers and ourselves can take a sick day when needed. That's why I'm hopeful that we'll see action soon in the Michigan legislature on this proposal. I look forward to it becoming law so it can help every Michigan family. Now I'd like to introduce my colleague, Representative Gretchen Driscoll, who would like to share a few words. Rep. Driscoll?
Thank you. Yes, I'm Representative Driscoll, and I'm from Western Washtenaw County, representing the 52nd District. And as a representative, and the Congresswomen have already stated, economic issues such as equal pay and earned paid sick leave and child care tax credits are crucial to the well-being of women and families. And our children. I think right now we need to be really thinking about our children and how we look out for our children. Because I'm not just standing here as a legislator. I'm standing here as a mother, a former single mother, well, current single mother, but a former working mother in the home. And it was really very tough sometimes. And we really need to be finding supportive mechanisms to be helping. These issues are not just women's issues. These are matters that are central to the well-being of every family. As Democrats, we look forward to a day when every Michigan family enjoys economic security. We will continue to work hard to make sure that all the politics are in place that help them achieve that. And as was mentioned, we are working across the aisle, bicamerally, and up and down, state and federal. Thank you for your